welcome and welcome back, you wonderful viewers. I am your host, as always, Blue Dragon of Blue Dragon Games, and welcome to the JohtoLocke. Those of you familiar with the Pokemon Nuzlocke challenge, still stick around while I explain the rules, please. So this is a modification of the Nuzlocke challenge for those of you who don't know what a Nuzlocke is or just want a refresher. It is a Pokemon challenge in which you can only capture the first Pokemon you encounter per route. You must give that Pokemon a nickname, and if a Pokemon faints, it is considered dead and must either be released or boxed permanently. For the sake of record keeping, I chose to put them in the box. Now, what makes the JohtoLocke unique is that I am only allowed to use Pokemon whose lines end or start in Johto. That means Pokemon like Zubat, who eventually become the Johto Pokemon Crobat, are allowed. And Pokemon like Swinub, who evolves eventually into Mamoswine, are also allowed. However, Porygon 2, in the Gen 4 Johto remakes, is not allowed, as its line neither starts nor ends in Johto, despite Porygon 2 itself coming from Johto. Now, onto the clauses and add-ons to the run. In addition to the JohtoLocke restriction, I am using the duplicate species clause and the shiny clause, meaning that duplicate evolutionary lines do not count as encounters, and can be ignored, and that shinies can be captured even if I've already made my encounter for the route. Do note that never came up. And lastly, legendaries are allowed, though I don't enjoy using them. Items are allowed in battle. This is not a hardcore Nuzlocke. I am not good enough for that. And roaming legendaries are only counted as an encounter on the route they are captured. Again, this did not come up, but it was to protect me from the RNG. And finally, for events such as the Safari Zone and the Bug Catching Contest, the encounter is counted only when a capture is made. So I have as many times to make attempts in the Safari Zone as I need, and in the National Park during the Bug Catching Contest. Without further ado, let's get on to the video. And welcome to the meat of the run. Now I'm breaking it down into multiple videos. This one is focusing on all the Johto gyms. Starting, of course, with the first gym leader, Falkner. Starting out with Zeus the Mareep. This is one of the easier gyms in the remakes, because Falkner gimmick is Roost instead of Mudslap. Part of the reason I chose to do this run in Gen 4 instead of in Gen 2. Because Mudslap would be really annoying to deal with when the best counter to Falkner is an electric type. And here we have Zeus just doing work. I love Mareep. It is one of my favorite Johto Pokemon. Just of all time. And this battle definitely helps show why. You will notice I have a good amount of Pokemon already. 5 at the first gym. That is because Primo gives you eggs, which is how I got Zeus. I forgot you could get Mareep on the route just south of town, in the section available to you. And my starter, Apollo the Cyndaquil, of course. This battle is honestly really boring and really annoying, because Roost strips the user of its flying type for the turn. But spam Thunder Shocks and you win. This battle does not require a lot of strategy. Honestly, it is rather easy, and that is Falconer down. The battle only took about 2 minutes or so. Not too bad. And moving right on to Bugsy. Bugsy, I dreaded so much. You can even see me changing my team layout specifically to better counter Bugsy's bugs, because I had completely forgotten what level Bugsy was at. And you will see, I was internally freaking out when I saw level 17 on his Scyther. One of the most terrifying Pokemon in the entire run, because not only does it have a Citrus Berry, but Stab 70 base power U-turn is its gimmick move. It also has Swarm, which amplifies the power of Bug-type moves when its health is low. I am very fortunate Bugsy chose to go for the normal effective Quick Attack over U-turn that turn, and that I got the 10% chance of burn. I am not going to sugarcoat it. I was about as shit bricks during Scyther, but afterwards it was a lot less stressful, if more tedious and time-consuming, sending in Zeus for Metapod. I don't remember why. I did not include my reasonings for things in my notes, mostly just what happened. You will also notice I am not including any of the Team Rocket stuff in this video. Mostly because, outside of one fight, Team Rocket was not at all notable during this run. Just straight up. But that's Metapod down, with Zeus only having taken 10 damage. Or so. And Hecate, my Togepi, who was, tragically, the first death of the run during a Team Rocket event. The only Team Rocket fight in the entire run that gave me any semblance of a challenge, and it wasn't even the fact it was challenging, it's the fact that Togetic fucking sucks. Yeah, it's born with a base 80 power, 100 accuracy psychic move, with a flinch chance and a 50% chance of Serene Grace, which Hecate had. My entire endgame strategy was going to revolve around Serene Grace Togekiss. With that huge special attack stat and Stab Air Slash. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, and I ended up not being able to use any Stone Evolution during the run. And here's Whitney, the gym leader I thought would be the most terrifying in the entire run. Spoiler alert, this match is less than 2 whole minutes long outside of the animations. Because with the JohtoLocke rules, I was able to grind out for Heracross on Route 46. That's about it. That's it, really. Because I was able to grind out for Heracross and lucked out in getting a female Heracross at that. Whitney's infamous Miltank, one of the most terrifying Pokemon in any run of these games, was a non-issue. 2 hits to take out one of the biggest early game roadblocks. Whitney was perhaps the shortest gym in the challenge. And on to Morty. My strategy, Hecate the Togetic, and Aeolus the Crobat. Honestly, I wish Morty's team included at least one Misdreavus. It is the only ghost type original to the Gen 2 games. It would have been so cool to show it off. And here we show the big reason why I wanted Hecate in the first place. Complete immunity to Morty. Signature move, Shadow Ball. Which is huge. I don't know why I went for Yawn there instead of Extrasensory. I think I was trying to prevent the hypnosis spam that Morty engages in. But I really don't know why I chose that. But one bite from Aeolus and Haunter is down. Because Aeolus is a level 25 Crobat. You will notice the experience bars of my Pokemon in another challenge run. I had been accused of just completely hacking in Pokemon. If I did that, it wouldn't be a challenge. But, in the immortal words of Alpha Red, cheating is based, grinding is cringe. So I gave myself 1 full stack of rare candies for the run. Because even with them, this run took 30 hours. And here you will see one of the most terrifying parts of this entire run, and part of why I allowed items. Morty's Gengar. Behold, it did 60 damage in 1 hit. This was more terrifying than Whitney by a landslide. Luckily, against Hecate, Ms. Gengar can really only use Hypnosis, which it won't use against a sleeping Pokemon that's slower than it. Sucker Punch, its low attack renders that a pretty weak move. And Mean Look, which when the plan is to one-shot it as soon as I escape sleep, Extrasensory, doesn't really mean too much, even though I didn't get a one-shot. But Morty healing allowed me to get off Yawn, give him a taste of his own medicine, make his Pokemon fall asleep, while I took a turn to heal, and make him waste a Sucker Punch, because that is one of the only moves he can use. And then he just used Hypnosis anyway. I was legitimately screaming at my computer at this point while recording this, because Hypnosis spam is so obnoxious to deal with. And it just became a race of who would wake up first. Morty is a really boring gym leader. And part of why I wish he'd have at least one Misdreavus on his team. Because Misdreavus doesn't get Hypnosis. There'd be one Pokemon that couldn't spam that annoying move. So, I don't think Morty missed a Hypnosis. It only has like 75% accuracy. And here, I just take out the last Haunter with Hecate. This is, sadly, one of the last times she was influential on the run. Also because Togetic has, again, really bad stats. Like, depressingly bad. I wish it was a better Pokemon art zone. And here, we have Chuck, whose battle was about twice as long as Whitney's, despite having the same number of Pokemon. You'll see why. It's its Poliwrath. That thing is a monster. And I didn't even level my team up to its level. And Rock Slide from Primeape was absolutely terrifying, and why I did not keep Aeolus out when that Poliwrath came out. Because Rock Slide is terrifying. And here we have Ampharos, Zeus the Ampharos, versus Chuck's Poliwrath. I love Ampharos, but I really should have grinded at the Game Corner and Goldenrod to get Thunderbolt. Before Whitney. Because that would have been a massive power boost throughout the entire run, up until the point I just decided to head Thunderbolt, which I think was after this gym. Pretty close to right after this gym. You can probably imagine how much I hate Chuck and his stupid Poliwrath. I came very close to losing Aeolus. If that had been a Focus Punch, I would have. Zeus, not Aeolus. I said Aeolus because I switched into Aeolus after this. And with the power of milk, Aeolus lives and gets topped off. For now. And Hypnosis. Everybody loves Hypnosis. Who doesn't love losing turns? Guaranteed. Nemesis was the safest switch in here, with the power of Aeolus. It wasn't the most damage. I think Poliwrath was in 3 to 4 shot range, ignoring crits. But it was good enough damage. And that's what matters. I was able to take down Poliwrath without any losses, even with an ultimately wasted party slot for Psyche the Eevee, who I never ended up using for anything. And here we have Jasmine, another really short gym leader. As in, this battle took 2 minutes. From start of dialogue to the screen going black. All thanks to the power of Thetis the Quagsire. Mud Bomb 1. Boom. Against Steelix, Apollo, the Typhlosion. This was, I think, the one time I out-leveled a gym leader at any point. Point of the run. Apollo, one-shot Steelix. And then I switched back to Thetis to one-shot that last Magnemite. Because I did not use Thetis nearly as often as I should have during the run. And I regret not getting Thetis to level 36 at this point. Because level 36 is when Quagsire learns Earthquake. Which I forgot it learned that naturally. And now you have Price. I am aggressively ambivalent towards Price. His battle took like 2.5 minutes. Like, his team is not very strong, it's not very dangerous. Use fighting water type moves. Oh, so complicated. And knowing he'd heal, I just used Aerial Ace to get some free damage and put it in one-shot range for Brick Break. And that is sealed down. Really easily. I did switch from Zeus to Dugong. I don't remember why I made that choice, honestly, but I did. Yep, at this point I had gotten Thunderbolt TM and decided to Zeus. Why not? There is objectively no reason not to. And that's Dugong down. And lastly, it's his pilot slide. Oh, I didn't even bring a water type. I just used up Hollow. Who I had taught Flamethrower at this point. Again, thanks to grinding at the Game Corner. Did you know I will not include footage of me grinding at the Game Corner to get 1,000 coins, because it's really boring. This is really boring. Why would you want to see that? And Claire. You will notice 2 more deaths on the screen. Those both happened in this section of the run. Aeolus didn't die to Claire, but like the Ace Trainer with the Thunder Dragonair right inside the Dragon's Den is close enough. If I make a death compilation, I'll include it. I was so pissed off because I had completely blanked on the fact that Thunder can hit Pokemon that are using Fly. But that's Claire's Gyarados down, her least threatening Pokemon. Which is shocking, considering Gyarados is a monster, but 4 times weak to Electric, and I have a good Electric type with Thunderbolt. And here you get to meet Lita, my Mamoswine. With Stab, super effective Ice Shard boosted by the Never Melt Ice and Ice Path. Leto was a very good Pokemon to have. A very good investment, even if that Aqua Tail was one of the single most terrifying moves this entire run. Doing exactly half her hit points in damage. And that is Dragonair number 1 taken care of. I was very fortunate to get the more common Swinub encounter in Ice Path instead of Delibird, because I like Mamoswine. And here is the first and last time Hephaestus would be used in the entire run. Who I had leveled and evolved specifically for Kingdra. Not realizing just how good Kingdra's special defense was, and just gambling on getting a paralysis with Dragon Breath. It didn't work. And even with a berry, to have the damage from a super effective water move. Yeah, that was 90 damage. And less than half of Kingdra's hit points gone. It was at this point where I made the tough decision, knowing that Hephaestus would not survive no matter what I chose if I didn't switch it out. I chose instead to restore Leto's missing hit points and sacrifice Hephaestus to ensure myself a safe switch in. Was not too happy about having to make a sacrifice play. but I knew that Nemesis could survive the Hydro Pump, if just barely, and just went right at it to brute force. The Kingdra's KO. Immediately switching Nemesis back out for Leto to clean up the final Dragonair. Claire was the hardest of all the Johto gym leaders. Understandably, as she is the 8th. But also just that Kingdra. And the fact one of her Dragonairs knows Fire Blast. And if that had landed, I would have lost the only Pokemon I had that could pose any independent threat to Lance's Dragonites. With what plans I had for that section of the run, which you will see later. I have been your host, Blue Dragon of Blue Dragon Games. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and see you in the next video.